Hi guys. Now there's no doubt, is there, that good communications is the key to any good relationship. But what is good communication? Because sometimes bad communication is worse than saying nothing at all. In fact, often it's good to say nothing at all. So let's start with how to talk so your kids will listen. So if you were out there shopping or looking for coloured jeans, and Mia and I came up to you and said, hey, we're giving a talk over in the community centre, come along, you'd probably quite politely say, oh, thank you, but we're a bit busy this morning. We'd probably leave you alone. But if you're on the phone and you're intently having a conversation with someone and we're tapping you madly on the shoulder saying, come on, come and listen to our talk, you'd probably, again, not so politely say, please leave me alone. But that's what we tend to do to our kids. You know, they're engrossed in something. They're playing something or watching something or doing nothing at all. And we're expecting them to just drop everything, listen to what we're saying, or come and do what we want them to do. So it is really important to pick our timing. It is really important to just say, hey, in about 10 minutes, can you come and I want to have a talk to you about something, or you need to be in the shower by 7, that sort of thing. Give them plenty of warning, give them, that timing is essential. Think about a workplace you've been in. How, depending on who you're talking to, that will depend on how you communicate. You know how some people you can use humour, some people you have to tread really carefully because they might just react. Our kids are the same. You know how the same parents can produce such different kids, can't they? In fact, they usually do. And so one child, you have to be very careful how you criticise or suggest anything because they'll just react really badly. Another one, you need to be really strong, otherwise they'll just walk all over you. I think modern parents, me included, we use too many words these days. When you're trying to tell your child no, or it's not on, we use too many words. But as I said, let's get on to the most important part of it, which is how to listen so your kids will talk. Because I think our job, and I'm sure you'll all agree as parents, is to keep our kids safe. Yes, we want them to be happy and healthy, but most of all, we want them to be safe. And the way you can keep them safe is letting them know that they can come to you at any time and talk to you. If they're in danger, or if they're about to do something risky, or they have started to do something risky, this is obviously talking about down the track in teenage years, but you want to set up the foundation so that they can really talk to you whenever they need to. I remember when I was a little girl having lovely times after school when my mum would sit down with a cup of tea and we'd come home and tell her all about our day. And whether you can be there after school every day or kindy every day or not, there's still a fabulous way you can tell your kids that you're ready to listen. And that's by asking them if it's worthy of getting a cup of tea. So I've obviously been saying this so often since I was my kids were very young, that I now get a text from even my 15-year-old daughter on the train. She's very dramatic, my daughter. She'll send a text and she'll say, have I got a story for you, you better put the kettle on. And when they are talking to you, what's really important is to not focus too much on the tone. I'm always hearing people talk about tone as if it's the most important part of the communication. And yes, the way in which we say things to people is important, but it is not the most important thing, especially when it comes to your kids. Because if they're trying to tell you why they're really upset and they're screaming, or why they're telling you why they're angry, or why they've behaved in some way, and they're finally opening up, if you say, not use that tone with me, young man, or careful young lady, inappropriate words, thanks. That's all they hear. They hear the door slamming down. And what you're trying to do is get to what we call in psychobabble land, the primary emotions. And the primary emotions are what are underneath what you're seeing. So, for example, you often see anger, but underneath anger is normally fear or hurt. And that's what we want to get to. All of the things I'm talking about when I'm talking about getting underneath the tone, getting to the primary emotions, it's what we call attunement, how you can attune to another person. When a very young baby is born, a mother or father attunes to that baby by responding to them. So if the baby cries, doing just that, pat, cuddle, smile, cuddle. That's what we want to do with our kids and our partners. We want to let them know that we get them. If you've got one child who's really excited because something's happening for them and the other one who's crying because something's really tough, it's really hard to attune to both of them. But you can reach over to the one who's looking a bit down or sad and just squeeze their hand, let them know that you're there, and then with an excited face say, come on, tell me about your day, telling this one, I'm going to get to you. And a very good friend of attunement is empathy. Empathy, the definition I love is entering into the spirit of somebody else, okay? So that's imagining what it's like for them given their personality and their situation. Did you all know that? If your kids said something to you, I've had this terrible day at school, imagine if you said your day was bad, let me tell you about my day at work. Oh, that's a good day. I wish I had a day like yours. So, yeah, really important to practice that empathy and again with our partners. And lastly, following up. It's really important with our kids. If they tell you that they've got something big on the next day, it's important to remember it and ask them how it went. I think it's a lovely thing to, when you tuck them into bed at night, to say, look, I'm still laughing about that story you told over dinner. Or to tell them that, you know, I remember last week you said this, and then they get this message, wow, she was listening, he was listening, and that's just such an important gift.